we go again. Even the title of this can't be asked. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, and please share this video with a friend because word of mouth is very important and it helps me out a lot, so thank you very much. So today we're returning back to my worst sequels ever series, and we're looking at Mamma Mia 2. Here we go again, and I think this movie's dog shit, to be quite frank. This film reminds me of a modern day Grease 2 or Dirty Dancing 2, and it's a sequel that never really needed to be made because the story was already wrapped up. So some movies just don't need a sequel because you can never recapture the magic. So when they announced this, I was half excited because I adore the first movie, it's one of my favourites of all time. But also kind of like, are you kidding me? What are you doing? But I thought, you know, at the very least, I can't wait to see all my favourite characters back together. Sophie and Donna. Donna's not in it. What? Why? Why? Was Meryl Streep busy? Oh no, she was. She was free for shooting because she returns as a ghost. But they just wrote her out the film for no reason, off screen. They gave Donna, one of the main characters from the first movie, an off-screen death. But you know what? At least I get to see all my favourite characters interact. Like Sophie's three dads. Sophie's husband. What? They spend most of the movie apart. So the chemistry that held the first movie together, that's not a thing. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But at least I get to see where the story has gone. It's a prequel. And a sequel. Who wrote this? Jokes aside, the fact that it's a prequel and a sequel at the same time is a massive issue straight away, because that tells me they didn't have enough of a good idea to do a sequel, so they thought, right, we've got half a film of an idea for a sequel, how are we going to pan this out? We'll combine it with a prequel of the story that led to the first movie that we already know about. And that's an instant problem, because I've never heard of a sequel-prequel before, and especially not like this. It's very jarring. Very jarring. Not helped by the acting of the younger cast is terrible. I mean, the guy who plays young Harry, I mean, fair enough, you're never going to capture the magic of Colin Firth, but his acting is cringeworthy. It's unwatchable. I hate those scenes that he's in. It just, it's awful. It's unwatchable. I think he's dreadful. And again, he might have been directed that way. I'm not hating on the guy, but I genuinely think that is a poor representation of a young Harry. And because it's a prequel that we already know about, we already know that we don't work out who Sophie's actual dad is, which is a great part of the first movie, but that means they have to do a lot of footwork and dancing around the subject as so that we then don't work it out. It's very oddly written, very oddly paced. And ultimately, if you're going to do a prequel, that should have been a separate movie in its own. Don't advertise Mamma Mia 2 to me, where I want to see those original actors and cast and where the story's gone, and then give me a prequel which shows me a story I already know about with actors I don't care about. Now, in fairness, the stuff with the original cast is great. I love seeing them interact, which is why I want to go to a Mamma Mia sequel. And when they do come together at the end of the film, it's a really nice feeling, you know? You get to see them back together. There's a real almost Avengers Assemble moment when they all come together. And that's really good, but I want to feel like that throughout the whole film. That's such a small part of the film for me that it doesn't work. I really don't like how Julie Walters' character is written to have split up with Bill and that he cheated on her. I think that's a real, I feel like that disrespects the story of the last movie a little bit, because in a musical, it's sort of a neo-reality. It's not quite our world, and everything's a little bit too polished, a little bit too shiny, and there's a happy ending. Like in the end of Mamma Mia, it's a relatively happy ending. Bittersweet, but happy. So, issues like someone cheating on them and a relationship not working out because of that, I get it's a real world issue, but I don't want to see that in a musical like this, because that's a very sad thing, and a musical can delve into sad things, but that feels like it's going against the DNA of Mamma Mia. Lily James as young Donna is doing the best she can, bless her, but the dialogue is so choppy and doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like anything that anyone would actually say, and the things that she does kind of make no sense, and I feel like they pay too much homage to, look, she's wearing Donna's ABBA boots in this scene that she then wears 30 years later. That's a good tie-in. It's not, because who owns a pair of shoes for 30 years, first of all? But also, and this is a problem with the prequel, you can't have them playing the same incarnation of that character, because there's like 30 years between it, and a person changes in a matter of a couple of years, let alone 30. So that Donna should feel like a completely different character, but instead she's acting and behaving the exact same way that Meryl Streep's Donna does. So it doesn't work, because in 30 years you would change, you would evolve. So it doesn't fit, it's wrong. There's another really awkward storyline about Ty and Sophie maybe splitting up, which again feels a little bit too deep and dark for a musical like this, especially when they're the main focus of the first one. Young Bill feels wrong again. I don't think he's a good actor particularly. Again, he's doing the best he can. Young Pierce Brosnan, I can't even remember who that is. And I'm pretty sure he's in the movie for quite a lot of it, but I remember nothing about him, his appearance, or anything with those characters. It doesn't quite fit, and they tell the story in a non-linear way. What a mess. It's such a mess. And they had 10 years to do a great follow-up and think of a story that was worth telling, and they crap out this. I don't think it's good enough for 10 years in the making. I heard a rumour that they kind of rushed it and thought, got 10 years, 10-year anniversary, let's release it to coincide. And the publicity for this was massive. It was on national news that they were making a Mamma Mia sequel. There was posters, billboards everywhere. The film was huge. And when I came out of it, I thought, what an awful movie. That was so bad. It was so awful. But everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. The press loved it. The fans loved it. My mother loved it. My mates loved it. And I was just like, how? Please comment below and explain to me what I am missing. Because ABBA songs, the music in this is great. That's not enough for me to go, what a great film, because I can listen to those songs regardless. That's not enough. So what is it that I'm not seeing in this movie that makes it so great? I'm baffled at how people think that it's good, and I've got no disrespect for you. I'm glad that you can find enjoyment in something that I can't. But please explain to me what I'm missing, because I can't see one redeeming quality about this film. Which is very rare for me, but I outright hate it. And whenever Mum's like, should we watch Mamma Mia 2? I'm like, no, Liz! Put on the first one. Put on Grease 2. Put on Dirty Dancing 2. Put on The Human Centipede 2. I'd rather watch that than Mamma Mia 2, and that's saying something. If you haven't seen my other worst sequel videos, check them out. They're linked up here and down below. I would rather watch any of those before I watch Mamma Mia 2, because it makes me sad. It makes me sad. They make a big deal out of Cher being Donna's mum, Sophie's grandma in this, and a big appearance. They literally shoehorn her in the film, and it's so jarring. It adds nothing to the story. She's in it for no reason, and she ditched Donna. We understand that she's a bit of a villain. She left Donna when she fell pregnant with Sophie. There is no repercussion to that. Sophie's just like, oh, hi Gran, you weren't invited. Let's have a coffee. That's not how that would go. It's so jarring and so odd. And there's weird connections, like she knows the waiter from the film for some reason. Because that's a real world thing, isn't it? They don't film it at the same Greek island hotel, or at least it doesn't look like it. I don't really know why they did that. And splitting up your cast. The main point of the film for so much of it. Like, that makes me sad, because Sophie finally found all her dads. And then all her dads just buggered off again and went back to their own lives. Because that was more important. They couldn't even be bothered to show up for her hotel reopening when she needed them, when her mother had died. That makes me sad, and that hurts the characters of the last film. Everything in this movie hurts the characters. Apart from Sophie, I think she's the only one who remains relatively unscathed by it. But that's because she doesn't really do anything. They don't really give her anything to do other than, I'm opening a new hotel. Alright. Thanks for that. It's a real wet fart of a movie, to be honest. Yeah, I can't fathom what went through their minds. And what's going through everyone else's minds. Why don't I like it? Why does everyone love it? Why... The movie broke me, okay? The movie really broke me because I was looking at me like, am I the problem? Why can't I like this? But I understand I'm not the problem. The movie's the problem. It sucks. I could talk about this movie for another 4 hours, but I don't want to because it's crap and it's making me sad talking about it now. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you've got any criticisms that I've missed or any of my criticisms that you disagree with, comment down below and let me know. And please tell me if you enjoy the film and why. Again, no disrespect. I'm so glad you can find enjoyment in something that I can't. I think that's fantastic, and I love that everyone's got a different opinion because I love a good debate and I would love to have one down there with you. Remember to like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell and share it with a friend, and check out some of my other videos here on the channel as well. I've got all sorts of stuff, guys. Enjoy. Follow my Instagram, Billy_Low37 if you would like. But until the next time, guys, it's been a pleasure, sort of, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.